The nurse placed Mia in my arms, all 5 pounds and 6 ounces of her wrapped in the standard issue hospital blanket. Her eyes were shut tight, her tiny mouth forming a perfect O as she yawned. In that moment, the emptiness of the room around me faded away. The beeping monitors, the antiseptic smell, the silence where congratulatory voices should have been, none of it mattered. "She's perfect," I whispered, tracing a finger along her cheek. The delivery room door remained closed. No excited grandparents rushed in with flowers and balloons. No siblings waited anxiously in the hallway. Just me, Mia, and the kind-eyed nurse who squeezed my shoulder before stepping out to give us privacy. 8 years have passed since that day at Milwaukee General. 8 years since I last heard my mother's voice, telling me that if I walked through the door with that baby, I shouldn't bother coming back. 8 years of Christmas cards returned unopened, birthday calls that went straight to voicemail. 8 years of explanations to Mia about why Mommy doesn't have parents anymore. The kitchen is quiet this morning as I pour milk over Mia's Cheerios. Our apartment isn't much, a 2-bedroom walk-up in a neighborhood where the rent only increases by a small percentage each year. But the morning light filters through our curtains in a way that makes everything look softer, warmer, Ms. "Rachel, can I have apple slices too?" Mia asks, her gap-toothed smile brightening the room more than any sunshine could. At home, she calls me Mom. At William Howard Taft Elementary, where I teach kindergarten and she attends 2nd grade, I'm Ms. Rachel. The arrangement works for us, this careful separation of our worlds. The other teachers know she's mine. The students don't need to. I slice the apple into perfect crescents, the way she likes them, and glance at the clock. We have 20 minutes before we need to leave. Just enough time for breakfast and for me to scan the morning's lesson plans one more time. "Mom," Mia's voice breaks through my mental checklist. "Do you think Grandma and Grandpa have pictures of you when you were little like me?" The knife slips, nearly catching my finger. These questions come sometimes, appearing from nowhere like landmines in our carefully constructed life. "I'm sure they do, sweetie." I keep my voice steady, arranging the apple slices in a fan pattern on her plate. "Eat up now, we don't want to be late." Later that day, after I've settled my kindergartners for story time, I catch myself staring at the family portrait one of my students drew. Stick figures holding hands, a house with a chimney, a smiling sun in the corner. So simple, so unattainable. I've written 17 letters to my mother over the years. 17 attempts at reconciliation. The first ones were tearful pleas. The middle ones included photos of Mia, her toothless baby grin, her first steps, her preschool graduation. The later ones were shorter, more dignified. The last one, sent 3 years ago, simply said, "We're still here when you're ready." None were ever answered. I don't know why I keep the return address on South Maple Street saved in my contacts. Why I still drive by the house sometimes, slowing down just enough to see if Dad's Toyota is still in the driveway. It is. If Mom's roses are still lining the walkway, they are. If my bedroom window on the 2nd floor still has the same curtains, it doesn't. Tonight, after Mia is asleep, I sit at our kitchen table grading papers. The silence of the apartment wraps around me like a familiar blanket. Sometimes comforting, sometimes suffocating. I've built this life piece by piece. I've made my choices. I've never regretted keeping Mia, not for a single moment. But in the quiet, when it's just me and the ticking of our wall clock, I sometimes wonder what it would have cost them to simply love us both. The mail arrives on Wednesdays around 2:15, when Mr. Grayson, our mail carrier with arthritis in both knees, makes his way up to the 3rd floor. Today, wedged between the electric bill and a flyer for carpet cleaning, there's a cream-colored envelope with an embossed return address I recognize immediately. My hands shake as I slide my finger under the seal. Inside is a wedding invitation on heavy cardstock. Gold lettering announcing the upcoming nuptials of James Edward Moore and Sophia Elizabeth Hayes. James, my little brother. The last time I saw him, he was 22, standing in our parents' driveway as I loaded the last of my belongings into my Honda Civic. He'd hugged me quickly when Mom wasn't looking, slipped me $200 and whispered, "I'll call you." He never did. Now, according to this elegant invitation, he's 30 and getting married at the Lakeshore Country Club on June 15th. The same country club where our parents celebrated their 30th anniversary 5 years ago. I wasn't invited to that either. There's a handwritten note on a separate card in what I recognize as James's messy scrawl. "Hope you can make it, Rach. Might be a good chance for everyone to make amends before the whole family is there. Mia too, of course. Jay." I drop the invitation like it's burning my fingers. Mia too. As if she's an afterthought. As if she hasn't been the center of my universe for 7 years. As if she isn't their granddaughter, their flesh and blood. When Mia comes home from her after-school program, I've composed myself enough to help with homework and prepare dinner. But after she's tucked in bed with her stuffed giraffe, I retrieve the invitation from where I shoved it between cookbook pages. The country club. All those people, my parents. 8 years of silence, and now they expect me to dress up and smile and pretend everything is fine? For what? So they can present a united front to Aunt Catherine and Uncle Timothy? So my father can hold court with his golf buddies without the embarrassment of his estranged daughter? I grab my phone and nearly dial James's number before realizing I don't have it anymore. I deleted it years ago when the "I'll call you soon" messages stopped coming. I could call our parents' house, but the thought of hearing my mother's voice makes my stomach clench. Instead, I pour myself a glass of wine and carry it to Mia's doorway. In the glow of her nightlight, I watch her sleeping face, so peaceful, so trusting. She deserves to know her family. She deserves grandparents who bake her cookies and take her fishing and hang her artwork on their refrigerator. All the things my parents did for me until I became unworthy. "Mom," Mia's sleepy voice startles me. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine, sweetie," I whisper, coming to sit on the edge of her bed. "Just checking on you." She sits up, suddenly more awake. "You look sad." I smooth her hair back from her forehead. "I got a letter today from your Uncle James. He's getting married." Her eyes widen. "I have an uncle?" The innocent question pierces me. 7 years old, and she doesn't even know who her family is because I've been too hurt, too proud, too protective to bridge that gap. "Yes, baby, you have an uncle, and grandparents too. Can we go see them?" The hope in her voice is unbearable. I take a deep breath. "Actually, we've been invited to your uncle's wedding." "A real wedding? With a white dress and cake and everything?" I nod, forcing a smile. "With everything. Can we go? Please, Mom." Looking into her hopeful eyes, I realize I have no choice. Not because my brother asked, or because my parents might finally acknowledge us, but because my daughter deserves the chance to decide for herself who is worthy of her love. "Yes," I say, the word feeling both like surrender and defiance. "We'll go." The Lakeshore Country Club hasn't changed in 8 years. The same manicured lawns, the same stone facade, the same American flag waving gently in the June breeze. As I pull into the parking lot, my hands grip the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turn white. "Mom, you're squeezing too hard," Mia says from the back seat, where she's been watching me nervously for the last 10 minutes of our drive. I force my fingers to relax. "Sorry, sweetie, just a little nervous." "Why? It's just a party, right?" If only it were that simple. I check my reflection in the rearview mirror one last time. I've spent more on this navy blue dress than I have on clothes for myself in the past year. My hair is swept into an elegant updo that took 45 minutes and 3 YouTube tutorials to perfect. I look polished, put together. like someone who hasn't spent 8 years being systematically erased from her family's narrative. Right, I say, turning to smile at Mia. Just a party. She looks beautiful in her new dress, a pale yellow confection with a satin ribbon that matches the yellow barrettes in her hair. When we went shopping for it last weekend, she twirled in front of the department store mirror and asked if she looked like a princess. She does, every inch the granddaughter my parents have chosen not to know. We walk hand in hand up the stone steps to the entrance. Inside, an elegant sign directs wedding guests to the grand ballroom. With each step, I feel my heart rate increasing. I haven't seen these people in nearly a decade. I have no idea what to expect. The ballroom is a sea of pastels and summer suits, champagne flutes, and polite laughter. I recognize faces from my childhood, cousins who've grown up, aunts and uncles who've grown older, family friends who were once fixtures at our dinner table. No one notices us at first, which gives me a moment to breathe, to steady myself. Then, across the room, I see her. My mother in a powder blue dress and pearls, her hair styled in the same bob she's worn for 20 years. She's talking to Aunt Dorothy, gesturing with a glass of white wine in her hand, laughing at something. She looks exactly the same, as if the past 8 years haven't touched her at all. Is that my grandma? Mia whispers, following my gaze. Before I can answer, a hand touches my elbow. I turn to find my cousin Sarah, whose wedding I missed 6 years ago. Rachel? Her eyes widen in surprise. Oh my God, I didn't know you were coming! She pulls me into a hug that feels genuine, if awkward. When she steps back, her gaze falls on Mia. And this must be... I'm Mia, my daughter says, extending her hand like I've taught her. I'm 7. Sarah shakes her hand, a strange expression crossing her face. It's very nice to meet you, Mia. You look just like your mother did at your age. More people notice us now. There are murmurs, sidelong glances. I see Aunt Catherine nudge Uncle Timothy, pointing in our direction. I see my father's business partner, Mr. Lawson, whisper something to his wife, and then, cutting through the crowd, my brother. James looks older, more filled out, his boyish face now defined by a neatly trimmed beard. He's smiling, but I can see the tension in his shoulders. Rach, he says, pulling me into a hug. You came. You invited me, I say simply. He crouches down to Mia's level. And you must be my niece. I'm your Uncle James. Mia smiles shyly. Are you really getting married? I really am, he laughs. Come on, I want you to meet Sophia. He leads us through the crowd. I feel eyes on us from every direction, hear the whispers following in our wake. Near the center of the room, a beautiful woman in a cream-colored dress turns and smiles uncertainly at us. Sophia, this is my sister Rachel and my niece Mia. I'm so glad you could come, Sophia says, and there seems to be genuine warmth in her eyes. James has told me so much about you. I wonder what exactly he's told her. Did he mention that our family disowned me? That this is the first time I've seen any of them in 8 years? Congratulations, I say, because it's the appropriate thing to say, even as I feel like I'm performing in some strange play where everyone knows their lines except me. Rachel. The voice behind me stops my heart. I turn slowly, Mia's hand tight in mine, to face my mother. She looks the same, yet somehow smaller than I remember. Her eyes, my eyes, Mia's eyes, flick from my face to Mia's, then back again. Hello, Mom, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. She doesn't move to hug me, doesn't touch Mia, just nods slightly and says, I'm glad you could make it. James will be pleased. As if I'm here for James. As if there isn't a 7-year-old girl standing right beside me who has never known her grandmother. This is Mia, I say pointedly. My mother's gaze shifts downward. Hello, she says, her voice careful, controlled. Hello, Mia responds, her small voice uncertain for the first time today. She presses closer to my side. Ellen, "There you are," comes another voice, and suddenly my father is there too, his hand on my mother's elbow. He looks older, more gray at his temples, more lines around his eyes. He falters when he sees me, just for a moment, before his face arranges itself into a politician's smile. "Rachel," he says, and unlike my mother, he steps forward to kiss my cheek. It's brief, formal, nothing like the bear hugs he used to give me. "Good to see you." His eyes drop to Mia, and something flickers across his face, something I can't quite identify. Pain, regret, curiosity. "And this is—" "I'm Mia Moore," my daughter says, lifting her chin slightly. "I'm Rachel's daughter." My father nods, as if confirming something to himself. "Well, welcome to the celebration, Mia Moore." The conversation that follows is excruciating in its banality. The weather, the venue, James's new job, no mention of the years of silence, no acknowledgement of the grandchild they've never met. Just polite, meaningless chatter, as if we're distant acquaintances at a business function. When they move away to greet other guests, I exhale a breath I didn't realize I was holding. Mia looks up at me, confusion written across her face. "They don't like me," she whispers. I crouch down, taking her hands in mine. "No, baby, that's not it at all. They don't know you yet. And that's their loss, not yours." But as we make our way to our assigned table, far from the head table where my parents sit with James and Sophia, I hear my mother's voice behind a column, speaking to someone I can't see. "Just don't bring up any of that old business," she's saying. "We're all trying to make this a nice day for James. No need to dredge up the past." I steer Mia away before she can hear more. But the message is clear. We are here on sufferance. We are to be tolerated, not welcomed. We are the family's shameful secret, permitted to emerge for one day before being tucked away again. At our table, surrounded by distant relatives and friends of the bride who don't know our history, I paste on a smile and help Mia unfold her napkin. But inside, beneath my carefully applied makeup and my expensive new dress, I am seething. Dinner is a blur of small talk and forced smiles. I push salmon around my plate and help Mia cut her chicken. I answer polite questions about my job, where we live, how long the drive was. No one asks about the past 8 years. No one mentions the elephant in the room. Mia, bless her, is oblivious to the undercurrents. She's enchanted by the centerpieces, the fairy lights strung across the ceiling, the chocolate fountain at the dessert table. She chatters happily with the elderly couple seated to her right, who turn out to be Sophia's grandparents and have no knowledge of our family drama. "Your daughter is delightful," Mrs. Hayes tells me, patting my hand. "Such good manners." "Thank you," I say, genuinely warmed by the compliment. "She's my whole world." "As children should be," Mr. Hayes says with a nod. "Family is everything, isn't it?" I smile tightly and excuse myself to the restroom, needing a moment alone. In the elegant powder room, I grip the marble countertop and stare at my reflection. I look like my mother, same cheekbones, same chin, same eyes that Mia has inherited. The genetic connection is undeniable, even if they've tried to deny it for 7 years. When I return to the ballroom, the DJ is announcing that it's time for toasts. James and Sophia sit at the center of the head table, flanked by their parents, looking radiantly happy. Despite everything, I feel a pang of genuine joy for my brother. He deserves this happiness. My father stands, microphone in hand, champagne glass raised. The room falls silent. "For those who don't know me, I'm Edward Moore, James's father," he begins, his voice carrying the practiced confidence of a man used to public speaking. "When James was born, I made a promise to myself that I would raise him to be a man of integrity, of strong values, of character." I take a sip of water, steeling myself. Today, looking at the fine young man he's become and the wonderful woman he's chosen to share his life with, I can say with confidence that promise has been fulfilled. Applause ripples through the room. Beside me, Mia claps too, watching her grandfather with curious eyes. Family, my father continues, is the cornerstone of our lives. It's what sustains us through difficulties, what gives meaning to our successes. It's the place where we learn forgiveness, acceptance, and unconditional love. My hand tightens around my water glass. Unconditional love? From the man who let me walk out the door 8 years ago and never called to see if I was okay? Today, our family circle expands to include Sophia and her wonderful family, but it's also a day of healing old wounds. He turns slightly, looking directly at our table. My daughter Rachel has joined us today, along with my granddaughter Mia. Their presence reminds us that family bonds can stretch and strain, but they never truly break. Rachel has taken a different path than we might have wished for her, but today we open our arms and welcome them back, as if nothing ever came between us. The room erupts in applause. People turn to look at us, smiling, nodding, murmuring approvingly. A few women dab at their eyes. I sit frozen, unable to breathe, unable to process what I've just heard, as if nothing ever came between us. As if I hadn't been told to choose between my baby and my family. As if I hadn't spent 8 years raising a child alone while they lived 20 minutes away. As if my parents hadn't missed every birthday, every Christmas, every milestone of their only grandchild's life. As if forgiveness were a unilateral decision my father could announce at a wedding reception without a single private conversation, without a single genuine apology. I feel a small hand grip mine under the table. Mia is looking at me, her eyes wide and uncertain. "Mom," she whispers, "why is everyone looking at us?" I realize I've been holding my breath. I exhale slowly, trying to control the trembling that started in my hands. "It's okay, sweetie," I say, though it's anything but okay. My father is still speaking, something about new beginnings and God's grace, but I can't focus on his words. My eyes scan the room and land on a cameraman in the corner, the red light on his equipment indicating that he's filming. This whole charade is being recorded for posterity, a beautiful moment of family reconciliation. Except there is no reconciliation, just a public performance designed to make my father look magnanimous in front of his peers. I look at my mother, who is staring straight ahead, her face unreadable. I look at James, who meets my eyes briefly before glancing away, a flush rising on his neck. I look at the sea of faces watching my father with admiration, believing every word of his carefully constructed narrative. And something inside me, something that has been bending and bending for 8 long years, finally snaps. I stand up before I can second-guess myself. Chairs scrape against the floor as people turn to look at me. My father falters mid-sentence. "Excuse me," I say, my voice surprisingly steady. "I'd like to say something too." There's a moment of confused silence. This isn't on the program. The wedding planner, a woman in a black pantsuit, hovers uncertainly at the edge of the room. James recovers first. "Of course," he says, gesturing for another microphone to be brought to me. A server hurries over with a microphone. I take it, feeling its weight in my hand, feeling the weight of 8 years of silence even more heavily. "Thank you, Dad, for those moving words," I begin, my voice echoing through the ballroom. "And thank you, James and Sophia, for including Mia and me in your special day." I pause, meeting my father's eyes across the room. He gives me an encouraging nod, as if expecting me to play along with his fiction. "I wasn't planning to speak today. In fact, I wasn't planning to come at all." A ripple of discomfort moves through the crowd. My mother's spine straightens almost imperceptibly. But then I thought about what family really means. Not the sanitized version we put on Christmas cards, but the messy, complicated reality of it. I take a deep breath. 8 years ago, when I found out I was pregnant with Mia, I came to my parents for help, for support, for the unconditional love my father just spoke so eloquently about. The room is utterly silent now. Instead, I was given an ultimatum: terminate my pregnancy or leave their home. When I chose to keep my baby, I was told not to come back. Someone gasps. My father's face has gone rigid. My mother is staring at the tablecloth. For 8 years, I have raised my daughter without any help or acknowledgement from the people who claim to love me. For 8 years, I have sent letters, photos, invitations, all unanswered. For 8 years, Mia has asked about the grandparents who live 20 minutes away, but might as well be on another planet. My voice breaks, and I have to pause to collect myself. Mia has stood up beside me, her small hand slipping into mine again, giving me strength. I didn't come here today to disrupt James's wedding or to air our family's dirty laundry. I came because I thought, perhaps naively, that this might be a genuine opportunity for healing. That after 8 years, my parents might finally be ready to acknowledge their granddaughter as a person worthy of their love, not as a mistake to be hidden away. I look directly at my father now. But that's not what this is it, Dad? This isn't about healing. It's about appearances. It's about making sure everyone in this room thinks you're the forgiving father, welcoming home the prodigal daughter, rather than the man who abandoned his child and grandchild because we didn't fit into your perfect family narrative. The microphone is shaking in my hand now. Tears burn behind my eyes, but I refuse to let them fall. Mia is not a footnote to be added to your speech. She is not a prop in your performance of family values. She is a beautiful, kind, intelligent little girl who deserves better than to be acknowledged for the first time in front of strangers at a wedding reception. I turn my gaze to the room at large, to the sea of shocked faces staring back at me. I don't want your pity, and I don't need your approval. What I needed, what we needed, was your love. Your genuine, unconditional love. Not this charade. I lower the microphone, suddenly exhausted. The silence in the room is deafening. My father is frozen in place, his face ashen. My mother's knuckles are white around her champagne glass. And then, from the far side of the room, a chair scrapes back. Aunt Martha, my mother's younger sister, the family rebel who never quite fit in, stands up. "She's right," Aunt Martha says, her voice clear in the silence. "Every word she said is true. They threw her out like garbage for choosing to keep her baby. I was the one who took her to her first prenatal appointment when she had nowhere else to turn. I was the one who sat with her in the hospital when she gave birth because her own mother refused to be there." More murmurs now, louder, uncomfortable glances. My father trying desperately to catch the eye of the wedding planner to signal for intervention. "And you know what's even worse?" Aunt Martha continues, warming to her subject. "They protected the baby's father, hushed up his involvement, helped him finish college and move away without any consequences, while Rachel was left to bear the entire burden alone." Now the whispers are a dull roar, heads swiveling between Aunt Martha and my parents. Sophia looks stricken, James pale and nauseated. I hadn't intended this, hadn't wanted to create a scene that would overshadow my brother's wedding. But the truth, once unleashed, has a power of its own. And then, unexpectedly, Mia steps forward. She tugs on my arm, and without thinking, I lower the microphone to her level. "I just want to say," she begins, her small voice trembling but determined, "that my mom is the best mom in the whole world. She takes care of me all by herself, and she never complains. She works really hard, and she reads me stories every night, and she makes me feel loved every single day." She takes a breath, gaining confidence. "I don't need grandparents who don't want me, but I think they're missing out because I'm pretty awesome. My mom says so all the time." A few chuckles ripple through the crowd, breaking the tension slightly. Mia continues, emboldened. "And I think my mom is really brave for coming here today. She didn't have to. We were okay without you. We've always been okay." With that, she hands me back the microphone and wraps her arms around my waist, burying her face against my side. I stroke her hair, overwhelmed with pride and love for this incredible child, my child, who has just stood up for both of us in front of a room full of strangers. "Thank you," I say into the microphone, my voice thick with emotion. "Mia and I wish you every happiness, James and Sophia. I'm sorry if we've disrupted your celebration." I set the microphone down on our table and take Mia's hand. "Let's go home, sweetie." We walk toward the exit, heads held high, a path clearing before us through the stunned crowd. No one tries to stop us, no one calls our names, just silence and stares following us all the way to the double doors. It's only when we're almost there that I hear footsteps hurrying behind us. I turn, half expecting, hoping, to see my mother. But it's James, his face conflicted. "Rach, wait," he says, catching up to us. "You don't have to leave." I look at him, really look at him, for the first time in 8 years. My little brother, the boy who used to follow me everywhere, who cried when I went to college, who slipped me money and promised to call. "Yes, I do," I say quietly. "This isn't our place." "I'm sorry," he whispers. I thought inviting you would fix things." I shake my head. "Some things can't be fixed with an invitation, James. Some things require honesty and courage and genuine remorse, none of which was on display in there." He looks down at Mia, who is watching him curiously. "I should have been there for you, for both of you." "Yes," I agree. "You should have been." There's nothing more to say. We leave him standing in the doorway, step out into the warm June evening, and walk to our car alone. The video hits social media by Sunday afternoon. Someone at the wedding, I never find out who, recorded my speech on their phone and posted it online. By Monday morning, it has over 1 million views. I don't realize any of this until I arrive at school and find the principal waiting for me in the parking lot. "Rachel," she says, her expression grave, "we need to talk." In her office, she shows me the video on her computer. There I am, in my navy dress, saying things I never intended for public consumption. The comments section is a battlefield of opinions, some calling me a hero, others a villain for ruining a wedding. "I'm so sorry," I say, mortified. "I had no idea someone was recording." Principal Gartner sighs. "It's not your fault, but given how viral this has become, I think it might be best if you take the week off, for your privacy and for Mia's." I nod numbly. "Of course." I collect Mia from her classroom. Already, I notice parents whispering, pointing discreetly, and take her home. On the drive, my phone won't stop buzzing with notifications. Friends, colleagues, even old college acquaintances have seen the video. Some offer support, others express shock. A few local news outlets have left messages requesting interviews. At home, I turn off our phones and pull the blinds. Mia, sensing my distress, is unusually quiet. "Are we in trouble, Mom?" she asks finally, as I make us grilled cheese sandwiches for lunch. "No, sweetie," I assure her, though I'm not entirely sure it's true. "Some people took a video of what happened at the wedding, and now lots of people are watching it. That's all." "You mean like we're famous?" I can't help but smile at her innocence. "Something like that, but not the good kind of famous." We spend the afternoon watching movies on the couch, a fortress of normalcy against the storm outside. But by evening, I can no longer ignore reality. I turn my phone back on to find 17 missed calls, dozens of text messages, and hundreds of email notifications. Among them is a text from James. "I'm so sorry about the video. It wasn't us. Are you okay? Can we talk?" And another, more surprising one from Aunt Martha. "Proud of you, kiddo. Been wanting to say those things for years. Come by for coffee when the dust settles." There's nothing from my parents. I'm drafting a response to James when someone knocks on our door. My stomach drops. A reporter? An angry relative? I peek through the peephole to see Sophia, James's bride, standing alone in the hallway. Confused, I open the door. "Sophia, what are you doing here?" She looks tired, her eyes red-rimmed. Can I come in, just for a minute? I hesitate, then step aside to let her enter. Mia looks up from the couch, curious. Hi, Sophia says, waving awkwardly at Mia. I like your pajamas. Mia smiles shyly. They have unicorns on them. I see that. Very cool. Sophia turns to me. I'm sorry to barge in like this. I got your address from James. It's fine, I say, though it isn't. Not really. Can I get you anything? Water? She shakes her head. I can't stay long. James doesn't even know I'm here. She twists her wedding ring nervously. I needed to tell you that I didn't know about any of it. James told me there was some family tension, but he never explained what happened. I'm not sure what to say to that. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. No, she says firmly. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what my in-laws did to you. I'm sorry my wedding became that. And I'm sorry for whatever part James played in it all. She glances at Mia, who is pretending not to listen. Mostly, I'm sorry this beautiful little girl hasn't had the family she deserves. Something in her sincerity touches me. Thank you, I say quietly. That means a lot. Sophia bites her lip. There's something else. After you left, after your aunt spoke up, there was quite a scene. My stomach tightens. What kind of scene? Your father tried to continue with the reception as if nothing had happened. But people were talking, whispering. And then your mother, Sophia breaks off, shaking her head in disbelief. Your mother stood up and told him to stop. Just stood up right in the middle of his damage control speech and said, "That's enough, Edward. She's right, and you know it." I feel my knees weaken. My mother said that? Sophia nods. She did, and then she just walked out, grabbed her purse and left. Your father followed her, but she was already driving away. I sink onto the couch, unable to process this information. My mother, who has maintained a wall of silence for 8 years, who didn't even make eye contact with Mia at the wedding, actually stood up for me, actually admitted publicly that I was right. The reception kind of fell apart after that, Sophia continues. James and I did our first dance, cut the cake, went through the motions, but it wasn't what we'd planned. She smiles ruefully. Not that I blame you. If anything, I'm grateful. Better to know what kind of family I've married into now than later. She glances at her watch. I should go. We leave for our honeymoon tomorrow. Maui for 2 weeks. She hesitates. When we get back, maybe we could have coffee, get to know each other properly. I'd like to be a good aunt to Mia, if you'll let me. The sincerity in her voice moves me. I'd like that, I say, and I'm surprised to find I mean it. After she leaves, Mia climbs into my lap, suddenly seeming younger than her 7 years. Mom, is Grandma sorry for being mean to us? I press my cheek against her hair, inhaling the sweet scent of her strawberry shampoo. I don't know, baby. Maybe she's starting to be. That night, long after Mia is asleep, I sit at our kitchen table scrolling through the comments on the viral video. Some are cruel, calling me selfish for disrupting a wedding. Some are supportive, praising my courage. Many share similar stories of family estrangement, of difficult choices, of choosing their children over their parents' approval. I don't know how to feel about any of it. I didn't ask to become a symbol of anything. I just wanted to stand up for my daughter, for myself. Around midnight, an email arrives from an unfamiliar address. The subject line reads simply, "I'm sorry." With trembling fingers, I open it. "Rachel," it begins, "this is your mother. James gave me your email address. I know a message like this is woefully inadequate, but I wanted you to know that I am deeply, profoundly sorry. For everything. I'd like to see you, to talk in person if you're willing. Please let me know. Love, Mom." Love, Mom. 8 years of silence, and now, love, Mom. I close my laptop without replying. Tomorrow will be time enough to decide what to do, what to feel. Tonight, I just want to sit with the knowledge that somewhere across town, my mother is finally sorry. The media frenzy lasts exactly 11 days. 11 days of declining interview requests, of fielding concerned calls from Mia's teacher, of ignoring the occasional car that drives slowly past our apartment building. On the 12th day, things begin to quiet down. A celebrity scandal pushes our story off the trending lists. School lets out for summer break. Life, slowly, returns to something resembling normal. Except nothing is normal anymore. Not since that email from my mother, which I finally answered 3 days after receiving it. My reply was brief. "I need time. I'll contact you when I'm ready." She responded with a single word. Understood. It's progress, I suppose. A kind of truce. Aunt Martha visits on a Wednesday afternoon, bringing homemade lemon bars and no-nonsense advice. "Don't rush into anything," she says, watching Mia play with sidewalk chalk on our small patio. Ellen's got years of atonement ahead of her, if you ask me. I smile, sipping my iced tea. Aunt Martha has always been the straight shooter in the family, the one who says what others only think. It's why she and my mother have always had a complicated relationship. I don't even know what I want from her, I admit. An explanation? An apology? More than that email, certainly. Martha snorts. "Honey, she owes you a lifetime of apologies. But that's not what's important now." She gestures toward Mia. "What's important is her. What kind of relationship do you want her to have with your parents, if any?" It's the question I've been wrestling with for days. "I don't know," I say honestly. Part of me wants to protect her from them forever. Another part feels like I'm depriving her of something important. Martha reaches across the table to squeeze my hand. "You'll figure it out. You're a good mother, Rachel. Better than Ellen ever was." After she leaves, I find myself scrolling through old photos on my phone. Pictures of Mia as a baby, as a toddler, learning to walk, blowing out birthday candles, losing her first tooth. All the moments my parents missed. Could those moments ever be made up for? Should they be? Mia comes inside, her hands and knees chalky with color. "Mom, I drew our family on the sidewalk. Wanna see?" I follow her outside to where a childish but recognizable portrait covers our small concrete patio. There's me, with exaggerated long hair. There's Mia, slightly smaller. And there, off to the side, are 4 more figures. A tall man, a woman with short hair, a young man, and a young woman. "That's Grandma and Grandpa," Mia explains, pointing, "and Uncle James and Aunt Sophia. I put them a little bit away from us because they don't live with us, but they're still family, right?" I swallow hard. "Right," I manage. "Do you think Grandma and Grandpa might come visit us someday? Like, for real, not just at a wedding?" The hope in her voice breaks my heart and mends it at the same time. "Maybe, sweetie. We'll see." That evening, after much deliberation, I compose another email to my mother. "Mom," I write, "I'm still processing everything that happened, and I'm not ready for a full reconciliation. But Mia is curious about you and Dad. If you'd like, we could meet somewhere neutral, perhaps the park by the library, this weekend, just for an hour. Let me know, Rachel." The response comes within minutes. "Yes, anytime, anywhere. Just tell us when and where. We'll be there." I set my phone down, my heart racing. Am I really doing this? Am I really giving them a chance to be in our lives again after everything? But then I think of Mia's sidewalk drawing, of the family she imagines, of the grandparents she's curious about despite never having known them. And I think of Sophia's words, "I'd like to be a good aunt to Mia, if you'll let me." Maybe that's what this is about, ultimately. Not about my pain or my parents' failings, but about giving Mia the chance to decide for herself who deserves a place in her heart. Saturday arrives warm and clear. We meet at Jefferson Park by the duck pond where I used to feed breadcrumbs as a child. My parents are already there when we arrive, sitting stiffly on a bench, looking oddly diminished outside the context of the country club. My father stands when he sees us, straightening his golf shirt nervously. My mother remains seated, but her eyes, anxious, hopeful, never leave my face. "Hi," I say, stopping a few feet away. "This is Mia." "Hello, Mia," my father says, his voice gentler than I've ever heard it. "It's nice to meet you. Properly, I mean." Mia steps slightly behind me, suddenly shy. "Hi," she mumbles. An awkward silence falls. I realize I haven't planned what to say, how to bridge this chasm of years and hurt. It's my mother who finally speaks. "There's a family of ducks over there," she says, addressing Mia directly. "I used to bring your mother here to feed them when she was about your age." Mia peeks out from behind me. "Really?" My mother nods. She loved the baby ducklings best, said they were fuzzy like her stuffed animals. "I like ducks too," Mia offers shyly. "Would you like to go see them?" my father asks. "I think I have some crackers in the car that we could feed them." Mia looks up at me questioningly. I hesitate, then nod. "It's okay. Just stay where I can see you." As my father leads Mia toward the pond, careful to maintain a respectful distance, my mother and I are left alone on the bench. "She's beautiful," my mother says softly. "She looks just like you did at that age." "That's what everyone says." Another silence stretches between us. I watch Mia by the pond, laughing as the ducks quack and splash. "I don't know how to do this," my mother confesses suddenly. "I don't know how to begin to apologize for 8 years of cruelty." "Neither do I admit. I don't know if I can forgive you, or if I should." She nods, accepting this. "I wouldn't blame you if you didn't. What we did, what I did, was unforgivable." "Then why did you do it?" The question I've wanted to ask for 8 years finally hangs between us. My mother looks down at her hands, clasped tightly in her lap. "Fear," she says finally. "Pride, shame, all the usual suspects." She takes a shaky breath. "When you told us you were pregnant, all I could think about was what people would say. The daughter I'd raised to have good values, to wait for marriage, now pregnant with no father in the picture. I was so fixated on what it said about me as a mother that I couldn't see what you needed from me as a daughter." "And Mia, your own granddaughter, what was your excuse for rejecting her?" My mother flinches at the hardness in my voice. "There is no excuse, only explanation, which is not the same thing. At first, it was easier to pretend she didn't exist than to acknowledge how terribly I'd failed you both. Then, as time went on, the distance grew larger, and I didn't know how to cross it. Every birthday that passed, every Christmas, the gulf widened. I told myself it was too late, that you wouldn't want to hear from me anyway. I wrote to you," I remind her, my voice cracking. 17 letters, photos of your only grandchild, invitations to her birthday parties. You never responded, not once." A tear slips down my mother's cheek. "I know. I kept them all in a box in my closet. I would take them out sometimes, look at her pictures, read your words, but I was too much of a coward to answer. Until James's wedding," she nods. "Until then, and even there I was still a coward. I let your father make that awful speech. I sat there while he rewrote our history to make himself the hero." She shakes her head. "And then you stood up and you said all those things, those true things, and I couldn't pretend anymore. I couldn't be part of the lie." I look across the park at my father, who is crouched beside Mia, showing her how to break the crackers into small pieces for the ducks. He's smiling in a way I haven't seen in decades. "What happens now?" I ask. "Where do we go from here?" My mother follows my gaze. "That's up to you, Rachel. We don't deserve a second chance, but we're asking for one anyway. Not an erasing of the past, but a chance to be better going forward." She pauses. "A chance to know Mia, if you'll allow it." I watch my daughter, who is now laughing delightedly as ducks crowd around her, quacking for more crackers. She seems comfortable with my father, not afraid or anxious. Children's resilience never ceases to amaze me. Small steps, I say finally. Very small steps. Maybe an hour at the park now and then. Maybe a phone call occasionally. But no overnight visits, no unsupervised time, and absolutely no pretending the past didn't happen. Relief washes over my mother's face. "Thank you," she whispers. "Thank you for even considering it." I shrug, not ready to accept her gratitude. "I'm doing it for Mia, not for you. She deserves the chance to decide for herself whether you're worth knowing." My mother nods. "I understand. And I promise, Rachel, I will spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of her, of both of you." I don't respond to that. I'm not ready to believe in promises yet. But as Mia runs back to us, her face alight with the simple joy of feeding ducks with her grandfather, I allow myself to feel a small glimmer of something that might, someday, become hope. 3 months after the wedding, after the video, after the park, life has settled into a new pattern. Not normal exactly, but different, evolving. My parents visit every other Sunday for exactly 2 hours. We meet at neutral locations, the park, the zoo, the children's museum. They bring modest gifts for Mia, always asking my permission first. They are cautious, careful not to overstep. I am guarded, careful not to expect too much. James and Sophia return from their honeymoon with seashells for Mia and tentative olive branches for me. We meet for brunch at a cafe downtown. It's stilted at first, but Mia's enthusiasm for Sophia's stories about Hawaii breaks the ice. By the time our food arrives, we're laughing about James's disastrous attempt at surfing. "I needed 17 stitches," he says, showing off the scar on his shin with a mix of pride and chagrin. "Always the daredevil," I say, and for a moment, it's like the past 8 years dissolve. He's just my little brother again, the boy who broke his arm jumping off the garage roof because he thought he could fly. But the years can't truly be erased. Too much has happened. Too much has been lost. Still, there's something to be said for new beginnings. The email arrives on a Tuesday in late September. The sender is unfamiliar, the subject line intriguing. Community Support Program, Expression of Interest. It's from a local nonprofit called Bridges, seeking volunteers to help establish a support group for single mothers. They've seen the video, of course they have, who hasn't, and wonder if I'd be interested in sharing my experience. My first instinct is to delete it. I'm not an activist or a public speaker. I'm just a kindergarten teacher who happened to lose her temper at a wedding. But then I think about all the comments on the video, all the women, and some men, who wrote things like, "This is my story too." I wish I'd had your courage. My parents did the same thing to me. Maybe there's a purpose to what happened, beyond the personal drama of my family. I reply to the email, agreeing to meet with the program director. One conversation, I tell myself, no commitment. But one conversation leads to another, and before I know it, I'm sitting in a circle of folding chairs in a community center basement, facing a group of women who all look as nervous as I feel. "I'm Rachel," I begin. "And I guess I'm here because a private family moment went viral, and now people think I'm some kind of expert on, what exactly? Standing up for yourself? Surviving family rejection? I'm not sure." A few women chuckle sympathetically. The truth is, I'm still figuring it out day by day, just like all of you. But I do know what it's like to choose your child over everything else, and to have to build a life from scratch when the people who should support you most turn their backs. As I speak, I see heads nodding, eyes glistening. These women understand. They've lived versions of my story. Some have reconciled with their families, some haven't. Some never will. We meet every Thursday evening. Mia spends those hours with my parents, a tentative exercise in trust that leaves my stomach in knots the first few times. But my mother proves trustworthy, bringing Mia back exactly when promised, respecting my boundaries, slowly earning my cautious faith. The support group grows. We add a second meeting on Tuesday mornings. We start a clothing exchange, a childcare co-op, a job networking list. One of the women is a lawyer who offers pro bono consultations. Another works in HR and reviews resumes. I organize a book club for the children, reading the stories I share with my kindergarten class. It's not world-changing work, but it's important. It's healing. It's community. In November, an unexpected gift arrives. A check from my parents made out to Bridges, with a note saying simply, "For the work you're doing, we're proud of you." I hold the check for a long time, turning it over in my hands, trying to decode the message behind the gesture. Is it guilt money? A peace offering? A genuine belief in the cause? In the end, I decide it doesn't much matter. The money will help women who need it. That's what counts. I deposit the check and send a brief thank you email. My mother replies with an invitation to Thanksgiving dinner. I decline politely, but suggest they might join Mia and me for dessert in the evening. Baby steps, always baby steps. December brings snow to Milwaukee, transforming our drab city streets into a winter wonderland. Mia and I decorate our apartment with the handmade ornaments she creates at school, plus a few treasured pieces from my childhood that my mother shyly offers one Sunday. "I kept everything," she admits, handing me a box of Christmas decorations I remember from my youth. "All your school art projects, your baby clothes, your toys. I couldn't bear to part with them, even when—" She doesn't finish the sentence. She doesn't need to. I accept the box, touched despite myself by this evidence that I was never truly erased from my mother's heart, even when I was banished from her home. Inside, nestled among tissue paper, I find the small ceramic star I made in 3rd grade, with my childish handprint pressed into the center. "Mia might like to hang this on our tree," I say, and my mother's answering smile is like the sun breaking through clouds. The holidays pass in a blur of school parties, support group gift exchanges, and carefully navigated family gatherings. James and Sophia host Christmas Eve dinner at their new house. My parents join us for Christmas morning breakfast at our apartment. It's not perfect. There are still moments of tension, of remembered pain, but it's something. A new tradition being born from the ashes of the old. In January, I receive another email. This one from a small publisher who specializes in memoirs. They've seen, of course, the video, and they wonder if I'd be interested in writing a book about my experience. My initial response is to laugh. Me, an author? But the idea takes root, growing quietly in the back of my mind as winter deepens around us. Could I write our story? Not just the dramatic confrontation that went viral, but the whole journey. The fear and loneliness of those early days, the joy of watching Mia grow, the pain of estrangement, the messy, complicated process of reconciliation. One snowy evening, after Mia is asleep, I open my laptop and begin to type. Not for the publisher, not yet. Just for myself, just to see if the words will come. The nurse placed Mia in my arms, all 5 pounds and 6 ounces of her, wrapped in the standard issue hospital blanket. Hours later, I'm still writing, the words flowing like a river breaking through ice. Our story, Mia's and mine, deserves to be told. Not because it's extraordinary, but because it isn't. Because there are so many others like us, making difficult choices, living with the consequences, finding their way forward. Spring comes early to Wisconsin this year. By mid-March, the first crocuses are pushing through the soil, and Mia and I are planning her 8th birthday party. For the first time, my parents' names are on the guest list. For the first time, the celebration will include family, beyond our tight circle of 2. On the morning of the party, as I frost the cake Mia has requested, chocolate with rainbow sprinkles, my phone rings. It's Aunt Martha. "Just checking that you're still breathing," she says by way of greeting. "Big day." I laugh, cradling the phone between ear and shoulder as I continue to spread frosting. "I'm fine. Nervous, but fine." "Your mother called me yesterday," Martha says. "Wanted advice on what to get Mia." I think she's even more nervous than you are. This surprises me. What did you tell her? To ask you, of course, but also that it's not about the gift. It's about showing up, being consistent, earning trust back one birthday party at a time. I smile. Good old Aunt Martha, always cutting through the noise to the heart of things. Thanks for being there, I say, suddenly emotional. Through everything, you were the only one who never left. Ah, well, she says gruffly, someone had to be the voice of reason in this family. See you at 3. The party is chaotic in the best way. A dozen 8-year-olds hopped up on cake and ice cream, playing freeze tag in the community room I've rented for the occasion. My parents arrive exactly on time, bearing a gift-wrapped box and matching expressions of careful optimism. The present, when Mia opens it, is a child-sized desk with a bookshelf attached. For homework, my father explains, and for writing stories. Your mom always loved to write at your age. Mia's delight is genuine, and I feel a pang of something complex. Gratitude mixed with regret for all the connections they've missed, all the knowledge about their granddaughter they should already have. But then Mia is running to the next gift, and my mother is helping serve cake to hungry children, and my father is awkwardly attempting to make small talk with James, and life is simply continuing, as it always does, moment by moment, choice by choice. Later, after the children have gone home, after the presents have been loaded into cars, after Mia has fallen asleep surrounded by new toys, I sit on our small balcony with a glass of wine. The publisher's offer sits in my inbox, still unanswered. The first chapters of our story wait on my laptop, still unfinished. The future stretches before us, still uncertain, but tonight, in this moment, I feel something I haven't felt in a very long time: peace. Not the fragile peace of avoidance or denial, but the sturdy peace that comes from facing difficult truths and finding your way through them. 8 years ago, I made a choice that cost me my family. Today, I'm building a new kind of family, one that includes my parents and brother, yes, but also Aunt Martha and the women from my support group, and Sophia, who has become an unexpected ally and friend. It's not perfect, it's not what I imagined when I was young, but it's real, and it's ours, and it's enough. Inside, Mia sighs in her sleep, turning over beneath her new birthday quilt. I watch her through the open door, this child who has been both my greatest challenge and my greatest joy. This child who taught me that family isn't just who you're born to, but who you choose, and who chooses you in return. This child who, by simply existing, taught me the courage to choose what matters most.